In tonight's action, I'm going to go with the first 7 under 6.5 runs between the Blue Jays and the Royals. The reason I'm doing 7 innings here is because both these starters have the potential to go past 5. If you look at Seth Lugo for the Royals this year, he's been incredible. He has had one bad start, and that's not even that bad. He gave up 4 earned runs to the Orioles over 5 1/3, which is one of the best offenses in all of baseball. Other than that, it has been quality start after quality start. 6 quality starts in his 7 starts this season. So I think I trust Seth Lugo here, especially against this Blue Jays offense. It's very middle of the pack. Then you look at Chris Bassitt, who last year was much better at home than he was on the road. He's pitching at home here. Last year, his ERA was a full run better when pitching at home. Now the numbers are kind of skewed because he had one bad one against the Dodgers. But if you throw that one out, 2 of his 3 starts at home so far have been incredible. You have 13 full innings pitched over 2 starts and only 2 earned runs given up. So I think both these offenses are a little pedestrian. Both these pitchers seem pretty dependable. I think they can go deep in this game. You get a little bit more wiggle room if you go first 7. First 7 or 6.5 runs between the Blue Jays and the Royals.
I like it. Chelsea, here's a bet I like even more. Cubs, first 5 money line, -127 at the Mets. We are backing Shota Imanaga here. In 5 starts this season, a total of 3 runs. That covers a span of 28.2 innings. That's why his ERA is less than a run. I think he can keep this going against a Mets lineup that recently has been better, but overall is a fairly light-hitting lineup. Cubs are undefeated in every game this season in which Imanaga has appeared. I kind of like the Cubs on the full game money line as well. That's a bit cheaper at -120, but I will take him in the first 5 and fading Jose Butto here. Cubs first 5 money line. But looking forward, what was your thought when you heard the Donkster supposedly tell Nick this last night?
Oh, Nick, you poor soul. You're believing the Donkster? Oh, poor little innocent Donkster. This is the same stuffed animal that is shamelessly hitting on our guests, hitting on Aaron Hawksworth, hitting on Tristan Crick. There is no boundary for this Donkster that probably needs to go to HR a few times. So maybe he seems innocent to you, but he's not on your show. You don't know him. This is kind of like people who want a pet and they don't know or understand the responsibility of a pet.
You had posted a picture of hot dogs and someone said, 2 toppings, make your pick. And you said, neither. So you have to explain this to me. Let's hear it.
Yep. I would put nothing and nothing. Or you pick 2 things, 2 more hot dogs on top of the hot dogs. Nothing on top. Just raw dogging the hot dog. Just dry. People are like, oh, is it too dry? No, it's not dry. What kind of hot dogs are you eating? Hot dogs are a very flavorful, very moist on their own. So I don't feel the need to put ketchup, mustard, relish, mayonnaise, anything on a hot dog. I don't feel the need to do any of that. I will say in recent months, I did try ketchup and it's not the worst thing, but on top, it would ruin the hot dog. It ruined the hot dog for me. So I put nothing on my hot dog whatsoever. Also burgers, nothing on them. Well done burger with nothing on it is absolutely perfect for me. Nothing on a hot dog. I saw people say relish and I forgot relish existed, to be quite honest. I was like, oh yeah, forgot about relish. Yeah, no, nothing on a hot dog. It would ruin it for me. So I don't really, sauces, condiments. I've never been a condiments person. I don't like olives. So that rules out like relishes and kind of things like that. Pickles are great, but it has to be a certain type of pickle, like a sliced little sandwich pickle. Other than that, no, nothing. Mustard's not really my favorite. Although I do like honey mustard, like chips or whatever's flavored, which is interesting. But no, nothing on a hot dog. And it's not dry. It's perfect. It's beautiful. A beautiful just hot dog as is. Appreciate the beauty that is just a plain hot dog. You don't need to cover it with anything. Just as is.
I like it. Squad play, Jenks. I'm all over Dallas. As well. I like that at BetMGM. You can get -2.5. I've seen it at 3 other places, but hey, grab it at 2.5. That's a great number. This is kind of all about the Mavs getting off to a hot start. In the 2 games in which they got down early, games 1 and game 4, they lost both of those. They were able to kind of climb back in the second half, especially in game 4, but ultimately just, a little too late. But if you don't get yourself in a 20-point hole in the first quarter, in the first half, Dallas has been okay. Clippers also shot 54% from the field, 62% from deep in that game 4 in which they won, but barely, because the Mavericks did come back in that one. But I think we see a little bit of shooting regression for the Clippers. They're not going to be able to continue on at that clip, especially from 3-point land. Kawhi Leonard's still out. That really doesn't matter a whole lot for me. I mean, he's an unbelievable player, but the Clippers have lost when he's been in the game. They've won when he's been out of the game. So I'm not really factoring his absence into this one a whole lot. I do like the fact that Dallas grabbed 14 offensive rebounds in that game 4. They're active on the glass. If they can shoot a little bit better, not get into a hole early, I think they can have success tonight. Plus, we've seen them win on the road. We've seen the Clippers win on the road. This isn't like one of those series where the home team wins every time. So I'm taking the Mavs, laying the points.
If I had to bet it, if you said, what's your bet? I would say I'm not playing it, but I would lean Heat just because of Coach Spo. I just believe in him to come up with some sort of plan to maybe keep this within the number. And also, we know what the Heat are going to have to do. They're just going to have to hit from long range. And that was the only way that they won, game 2 of this series. But this is probably going to be a Celtics blowout. However, they could also take their pedal off the gas late because they need to get ready for the next round. If they're up by 10, 12 points with, 30 seconds to go, why keep your starters in the game? You pull those guys out, you say this bad boy's over. That's always a possibility. I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth. I don't know what happens with this game. On principle, Chelsea, unless I have a super, super strong angle, and I don't have an angle on the total either because it's so low right now, 198 in the hook. Vegas is caught up with these low totals and unders hitting in playoff basketball. Ultimately, you can't talk me into laying a number this big or playing either side. So it's just a stay away from me.
Yeah. Some injuries in this one. Kristaps Porzingis is out for the Celtics. I don't think it matters that much. Just because if you look at the injury report for the Heat, it was already very long. Jimmy Butler's out. Now we have Jaime Jaquez Jr., who was playing really well in this series. I think he was averaging like 12 or 13 points per game. He's out for this game. Duncan Robinson is already playing limited minutes because something to do with his back. So it just feels like a skeleton crew for the Heat. Maybe look at the under, but it's ultimately not a game that I will be betting on.